This call is now being recorded. So, very welcome to the first DigiShare. This was by request of teachers who had heard that the primary school one last year was going on and was really successful. So I purposely pitched it at subject teachers and digital leads because I think sometimes in school it's not always the person who's responsible for ICT who is in charge of digital skills, if you like. And I'm hoping to make this available to everybody and accessible to all subjects. So first of all, I'm Louise Kerr. I work part-time with Did You Know This? I'm a post-primary digital learning specialist. That's the title they gave me, not the title I gave myself. I'm a history teacher by trade, but have a great interest in educational technology across all sorts of subjects. And I work 2 days a week with Did You Know This? And then 3 days a week still teaching in school. So I'm going to skip the icebreaker. Okay, it was supposed to be a wee interactive one. So I think if we introduce ourselves instead, because hopefully this will become a regular occurrence and we can fit it into our schedules when it suits us. So I teach in St. Joseph's in Kyle-Island. We're a one-to-one iPad school. As I say, I'm a history teacher, but I also teach the digital technology at GCSE. We are just 11 to 16. So if Colette or Marion, you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. So my name's Colette Walker. I'm head of ICT at Ashfield Girls. I teach ICT from Key Stage 3 right up to Post 16. So we have a number of different pathways. At Key Stage 4, we have the GCSE digital technology, we have level 2 ICT, and we also have occupational studies, technology and innovation in there. And then we have ICT at Post 16.
Hi, I'm Marion Herty. I'm head of ICT and ICT coordinator in St. Joseph's High School in Crossmaglen. And I'm a bit like you, Colette. I have Key Stage 3, 4 and 5, so I'm all over the place. But I have 13 non-specialist teachers delivering digital skills in junior years. So this is the reason why I'm coming here to get practical advice of where I go or how I manage this. Okay, so I have great interest in educational technology. We were trying to reinvent it, and that's why I was liaising with Louise. So she says I've helped her, she's helped me. We are trying to put a more engaging curriculum at Key Stage 3. We've sort of got there, and we're continually moving towards that direction, but to make it more engaging. So that's another area I'd like to hear what people are doing to make it engaging. Okay, so that's the reason I'm here.
Yeah, and sharing is part of it, because one of the biggest things that we can have as teachers is conversations with each other. And I will give away my age to say back in the day there would have been subject-specific CAS sessions where you would have went out and got talking to people and got good practice and all that sort of stuff. So with the whole cutbacks and all the rest, that's what hopefully DigiShare will give us the opportunity to do, is to have those experiences. So I don't know if you can pin my presentation. I had technical issues. So I'm in on 2 different accounts. So Marion, as you say, with all the registrations that we had, I know people have different things on different days. Overall, people want to know what's happening in other schools, what's good practice, how are teachers being trained, how are they providing resources for the non-specialists, and how can you plan for using ICT across the curriculum, because you 2 ladies are the prime example. I'm sure you see those children maybe once a week, if at all, if your non-specialists are doing it. So hopefully based on that, we'll narrow down our focus for upcoming meetings. I've thrown in a schedule there. We'll have it maybe a talk through it at the end, but we'll come up with better dates that suit. As I say, I'm working with Did You Know This? I'm going to open this by shortcuts. Marion, it maybe plays in stuff that you're here for. no problem, Therese. If you've no camera, that's fine. Listen in, and you don't be afraid to turn on your microphone to join in the conversation. So Adobe is, as you know, well, if you know, a free resource C2K have provided, okay, suite of apps. Adobe Express is phenomenal. It's free, it's easy to use, it's engaging, and it's so cross-curricular. There are shortcuts to everything, okay? I'm an ACE leader, which basically means I've done my Adobe Creative Educator badges, and I'm now leading courses and doing things. But there's so much out there for teachers at their fingertips if you know where to look. That first wee QR code there, or just the link, adobe.ly/NI Express links, and we're getting this recording, don't forget, so don't panic about it in case you miss something. You'll get the slides as well. Is a shortcut to all of the things that you need. I've pulled out a couple of examples, okay? There have been NI 45 lessons, it's called. There are 45 lessons where Adobe have created content, and they are primary school topics because it was primary school teachers who requested them. And I'm hoping that at the end of this call, we'll be putting requests in for specific post-primary resources. They have them totally aligned with the curriculum. Okay, I'm going to throw another wee slide up here if you can make this other screen a wee bit bigger. So as a history specialist, I went like, oh, they're doing castles. Now it's very Americanized. They're saying social studies, but it's history. Pupils create a poster about the defensive features of a castle. You've got your success criteria in there to present the features, to explain how they're defensive, and to make design choices. It then goes on. There's a lesson plan, there's a video tutorial, and there's a pupil handout for every lesson. Okay. This one happens to be pitched at level 3 to 4. Now, I'm sure you're like me and you'll have pupils coming in from the primary school who've never used this and are not comfortable, or teachers, maybe non-specialist, Marion, as you say, but everything's there. It aligns to all of the E's. You've got your language and literacy. It goes through everything that you need. There's nothing stopping you using those lessons as is, or pushing them out to perhaps your first year teachers and them taking it a step further. And another one that's in there is actually film and animation. It's ticking that box for using ICT. This one happens to be on climate change, but again, it's got the lesson plan, it's got video tutorial for your teachers and your students of how to, and this one's hitting film and animation up to level 4. Now, obviously, as children progress through Key Stage 3, you want them moving on up through the levels, but these are brilliant starting points, and they're there and they're rocking, ready to use. So that's something that I, as a teacher, as a non-specialist who wants my teachers to be teaching using ICT, to be able to say, look, here's a math lesson, here's a whatever lesson. So I'm going to flick back to that first one that I showed you. They've got the world around us, the geography, history, science, technology, using ICT with a cyber safety one, and even a wee bit of PD and literacy in there, art and design, all the rest. 45 lessons ready to go. And that's my big share of today. You know, for non-specialists and for people who think ICT, oh, I have enough to do in my subject. Why would I be teaching ICT? It's a cross-curricular skill. We all have to be doing it. So the ethos of DigiShare is, did you share when you're here? It's great today. There's a small number, so we'll all have something to bring that we're using, especially at Key Stage 3, Marion, as you say. That's what everybody's mad looking information on. We will have different contributors, leaders, and speakers. You yourselves here today, ladies, are those contributors and speakers. And we want to truly collaborate on stuff. So what naturally comes out of these sessions, hopefully will lead to collaboration, shared documents, all that sort of stuff. It's about giving as it is about taking. So the other message that I would have is, people are going to share a way of doing things, not the way. There's no answer. Everybody's way is different. So it's our way, not the way. So as leads, and I'm not sure, Therese, if you're a lead or not, think there from your message at Key Stage 3, you probably are. You've got your planning documents, you've got your policies, you've got your whole school ICT curriculum and your cross-curricular links. And then you've got your subject-specific lessons that you're teaching yourself, your own schemes of work. So as regards planning for Key Stage 3 ICT, because we all had an interest in that, what happens in your department? What are you currently doing in your department for Key Stage 3? And is there something that you can share that is working well? Like maybe takeaway lessons that, you know, this is where I found a resource, or whatever you've got to bring today. If one of you ladies wants to unmute and have a discussion, or if we can all chat about what's working.
Well, we're just currently now starting to introduce Minecraft in education at Year 8. Now, we haven't tried or tested it with students yet. So I'm currently getting trained, and then I'm going to train the Year 8 teachers. We're going to introduce it at Year 8 and then develop it at Year 9 and at Year 10. But it looks very engaging and interesting for the students.
And are you talking, Marion, about the coding in Minecraft? That
eventually we would hope to get the coding, but that would be Year 10. But we're initially starting off, it's not the coding, it's the blocks, and then hopefully we're going to be developing it each year. That's my aim. That's my aim at Key Stage 3.
And who are you doing the training with?
Prodigy. So which seem to be really good. There was 6 hours of training. I only made it to 4. I did offer it off to other teachers, but as they're non-specialist teachers, this is an add-on. They don't want. So I've sent an email to senior management to see if there's any time we could allocate, any time that we get these teachers in to show. I'll train them. I've no problem training them, but we need them together to do that, because we had a meeting yesterday and there was 5 out of 13 turned up, not because they didn't want to, it's because they have other departments to go to. And
maybe leading other departments.
The what, sorry?
And maybe leading other departments as well.
Absolutely. It, you know, and that is an issue, you know, that this training cannot happen at the meetings. This training has to be a time allocated for everybody to facilitate this. So that would be the only issue I have. But I will let you know later on in the year if this is successful or not. So that's one of the things we've introduced.
So I did the Prodigy training. I'm not sure, Colette, if you have done it. And a lot of it turned to the coding element very quickly. I think I was on phase 2. Is it 4 now, Marion? I think it's 4. I was on phase 2 and found it really good, the training really good. But I don't know. I haven't used enough of it probably. I'm using it, but across curricular we're using it. In history, for example, the children have built their square keep castles and things like that, and then label them, and like they know far more than I know just about the building of it. But it really, really engages them. They could probably tell me so much about the features of Square Keep Castle from we introduced it compared to pre-Minecraft when they weren't really that fussed. You know yourself the crack with that. But yeah, it's a really good program. I found it got quite difficult for our children, or for me, perhaps it was me. But it's a really good opportunity to upskill yourself in the Minecraft. It definitely wasn't about in our day. Colette, what about you at Key Stage 3? What sort of things are you covering, or where are you putting your hands on resources, or is it all created in-house?
Well, we have recently revised our Key Stage 3 curriculum. So we only have 1 period a fortnight, so we're quite limited in the amount we can cover. In Year 8, we're doing block programming, we're doing Scratch, we're doing Microbit, and then we do Sphero. In Year 9, we do digital imaging with Photoshop. I'm trying to think what else we do. We do HTML, so the design websites. And Then in year 10, we focus on digital video editing. So we use Adobe Express, and then we do game design with MakeCode. So
do you find much of it being covered outside of the ICT classes, Colette, or is it all left?
no, that's discrete. That's in the ICT department. Cross-curricular, it's a different story.
Sorry, Colette, I was just going to ask you, what made you come up with those topics?
A number of things. I'm part of an EBALC, which is the East Belfast Area Learning Community, and our focus now is to liaise with primary schools to see what are they doing in the primary. And we just wanted to focus on a curriculum that was more interactive and more enjoyable and engaging for the girls. And yeah, you know, we wanted a refresh, so we were trying to focus on a bit of the coding and a bit of the creative and a mix of both, you know, to suit everyone.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've changed the curriculum a number of times, but our whole school has recently done a Key Stage 3 review. So all subjects and all departments. So it was just talking to the girls, seeing what they wanted, talking to primary schools, what are they teaching, what are we building on, trying to feed in then to the Key Stage 4 curriculum then as well. So,
Colette, have you, because I find, because we do a baseline test when they come in from the feeder schools, and
yeah.
you've such a variation. We have children that don't even know what a font is, don't know how to increase size, don't know how to center. And then you have children that potentially can code. So there's such a variation, and how you, I don't know how you start the ball running or rolling as such, you know, what do you start with? You know, they're great. To me, that sounds very engaging, but I would fear for the children that haven't even got the basic skills to even move on to the likes of some of the things you've mentioned. And it just sounds, I'd love to be at your school. It sounds so engaging.
Yeah, well, you know, we do the baseline test as well to see where they're at, but I think the link with the primary schools has been good to see what they're doing there, and we're seeing more in the primary schools now over the last number of years. You know, and it's about building on that. We found that we were, you know, covering work that some schools had already done, you know, and you know, some girls were very good and they had the skills, but as you said, it is wide and varied. Each primary school is doing something very different, and I suppose it was starting at the bottom and then very quickly moving the skills up. So you know, it seems to be working. The girls they're coping with the work, you know, and they seem to be enjoying it. We've reviewed it there the last 2 years, and you know, engagement seems to be good, so we're happy enough.
Thanks, Colette.
Do you think, Marion, that you want to do that sort of a wee bit more variation, I suppose, that a wee bit more?
Absolutely. I just love the sound of that. But I just know I have children that come in and they really, really have no skill set. A lot of them don't even have usernames. So how you marry, and we are a non-stream, we don't stream the students. So you have such a variation. I don't know how you would start off. And we're lucky because we have 2 periods per week, every week. But unfortunately, it used to be 2 together, but now it's separate, which obviously you don't get as much work done. But we are very lucky we have that. We have the opportunity to do a lot of things.
And how long is the period? What is that?
It's 25 minutes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You see, we have an hour a fortnight, which isn't ideal. Isn't ideal.
We're similar. We're 50 minutes a fortnight. But a lot of other skills are practiced out. Obviously, the children all have iPads, so a lot of stuff is practiced outside of me teaching them the skill, and then they take that skill and practice it somewhere else, which helps. But Marion, what about, in this theme of planning, thinking of one thing, and I know you've got your Minecraft, but thinking of one thing that you could already do that would be fairly easy to access.
Excuse me. Well, see, I don't know whether my mics are on or off because I'm normally using Teams, so I have to keep going over here. So sorry about that, Louise. Well, I'm thinking Adobe. We do touch on Adobe, but we use Publisher to get them the basics of text boxes. Maybe we should get rid of Publisher altogether and just concentrate on creatives using Adobe Express. That could be another area that we could maybe put a wee bit more focus on using the software.
Well, there is that advantage in the fact that the Adobe Express is cloud-based as well. So you could give them something to do that some of them might be encouraged enough to go off into a different classroom and do it, or continue something at home, or, when it is engaging like that, be it in film or creating a poster. I covered a class today and the children logged into the desktops in my room. And one of the things they wanted to do is they wanted to know, could they finish their home economics poster in Adobe Express? And they were doing about anemia. And then I teach them about AI, and they were doing generative AI as well. So then that started a conversation about AI and a wee bit of e-safety, and so much there that you could link in.
No, that sounds very good, Louise. I mean, funny enough, when I was speaking to my year 13 students today, year 14, and I was talking about the fact of AI, and they nearly are starting to laugh, thinking it's a dirty word. I says, we use it. I says, you can use it, but you have to use it wisely. And I talked about e-safety and all that, and all, so we are trying to promote it, but maybe down in the school we need to do a wee bit more of that too.
There's great resources on, let me think what it's on, commonsense.org. I think they're aligned with Raspberry Pi. Great basic resources on what AI is, defining AI, how AI learns, wee bits and pieces of videos that would suit your length of classes,
I'm sorry, can you hear me, Louise?
I can, yeah.
What is it? Sorry, commonsense.org.
Commonsense.org, or shoot me an email, Marion. Right?
I'll send you an email.
Send me an email and I'll send you a link to the website. And maybe we'll put it in as a follow-up to this as well. It will maybe create a doc of some sort that we can collaborate on and give ideas. On that, I'm just going to go in and introduce, we've got Maria on. Maria, I don't know if you're in a position to unmute and say hello, or drop something into the chat maybe. I don't want to put you on the spot either. But us ladies have just met today, so you haven't missed anything or lost anything. Colette, anything else you can think that Marion could start, just pick something up and that your girls love?
Well, I do understand that it is difficult when you've got non-specialists teaching Key Stage 3. Now, this year, I don't have non-specialists, but this is the first year in a long time where that has happened. So even last year, my strategy was to create videos, and I created training videos for each of the units, which then I filtered to the staff who were teaching the units themselves. So a lot of them weren't confident in, some of the software themselves. So the training videos were very good. They were very effective. It meant, yes, it was a lot of time creating the video, but I didn't have to keep meeting with the staff to train them on how to teach some of the content. So that was helpful. In terms of the topics, the girls seem to like the game design. So, we get them to design the games in Make Code, and then they put them onto the controllers, so they download and play their games. So that one's quite interactive, and they all seem to enjoy that unit. And We also do Minecraft, but we don't do it as part of our curriculum. We do it as an after-school club as part of our. We have a drone academy, and it's in there. So yeah, that they really like Minecraft. So,
And Colette, would you ever think of introducing it in your discrete IT classes?
I suppose it's just the time constraint that I have. I, only once a fortnight, so I can only complete 2 to 3 units a year, so I'm limited into what I can squeeze in there, but they definitely enjoy it now. There's an enjoyment factor there, and they did get on very well with it.
Do your girls have access to any devices outside of their discrete lessons, Colette? Are they using that in other subjects, for example? Or do you have ICT suites you can book? Or
Oh yeah, we have trolleys and iPads and different ICT suites that you can book. So in terms of cross-curricular, that's being revised at the minute. But yeah, there's pockets of good practice here, there, and everywhere. We did a lot of Adobe Express training, so departments are running with that. There's a lot of Adobe Express being used all around the school.
And that's great because it builds the girls' confidence in what they can do, especially if a teacher who's not as confident in it starts. Yeah. They have those basic skills before the start. I'm just mentioning that because that's the next sort of area that I know some people had questioned in their feedback form when they were registering, is where they're finding the hardware, what software they're using, and what training they're getting. There was an awful lot of interest in training that was available. Where did you access your training, Colette, for Adobe?
It was the Adobe Express team came out on one of our training days. So they trained all of the staff.
Yeah, that's really useful to get people out. Marion, do you have anybody like that?
Yeah, we had AMA, the AMA Centre in Armagh, come into the school and train the digital technology teachers. Now, I give them a wee bit of training to all staff, but I don't know if the takeaway was that good, and I'm not seeing it used throughout the school, so maybe I need to reinforce that a wee bit more.
Yeah. Do your students have any access to devices outside of your IT rooms? Are you constrained by your room?
We have trolleys and Chromebooks. We've got variation of devices, so there's no problem with that at all. And they are being utilised. That's the only thing. We nearly would need about 3 more rooms because the laptop trolleys are always out. Now, dare I say it, it might be basic, like for coursework and be Word and things like that. So I don't know how, if they're using any more creative sort of applications, but they are being used.
Well, maybe that's an opportunity then for you to introduce that creativity on down in Key Stage 3, that whenever they're booking the trolleys out for coursework and things, there is that possibility of them being more creative. Children are an awful lot more open sometimes than older people, than teachers even. Teachers still have, even with us, would have a fear of what happens if that doesn't work? What happens? It's like, it happens every day.
Well, Louise, I have a teacher in our school that will always quote, "Bring back the filing cabinets." So
there's always that. There's always that. But well, my motto is always work smarter, not harder. If there's a shortcut be found to make life easier or engage students that wee bit more, that's what I would want to be doing. So maybe if you were monitoring what was being done on them, what they're being booked out for, do you use a booking file of some sort to book those out?
Yeah, there's a booking system. It's a hard copy. It's our technician that does it. Maybe he could put it on board, and we could put a wee another column saying an overview of what you're doing. Would be useful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you don't want to put people off. So but
no, I'll not put them off.
Overview of what you're doing, what software they're using, what are they producing? Are the children just using it as a word processor, or are they using something else? And then after monitoring that for a while, it might give you the scope to go, right, okay, this is the next stage of what we're going to do.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Look at I'm going to write that down. Thanks, Louise.
No bother. That's what we're here to share. And I don't think any school's got the ideal setup, but sharing is, teachers are magpies for ideas. You know, if something's working, you want to be using it. Glad, what about you? Anything else you can think of good practice wise for those things that you're booking out? Do you have a combination of iPads and laptops and Chromebooks and that sort of stuff as well?
Yes, and we just have an online booking system, and to be honest, they don't put in it what they're using it for. You know, but each department kind of has an overview that they give an overview of what they're doing each year in terms of ICT. So we kind of know what's going on, when it's happening, and trying to time everything so that you know, the resources are available.
That would be a massive part of it for us as well. So like Maths Week Ireland's coming up now on the whatever date it is, next week or the week after. So I need to have made sure that I've covered Spheros, coding Spheros with the year 8s, so that the year 8 maths teachers can take those out. Because if I said, you know, you need to learn how to code, they're like, absolutely no way. But there's no problem if the children already know how to code, taking them out and doing shapes and various different things. So that planning and knowing when people are covering different things is a really useful takeaway as well. Because our maths teachers are not interested in learning how to code. You know, they would say, we have enough to do, we don't need to be coding as well. But it shouldn't prevent them putting that ICT out into their cross-curricular skills. Siobhan, I see you've been able to join us. Have you any good practice or concerns about resourcing and what's happening in St. Joseph's and Donoughmore?
Probably just, you know, ours. I suppose we're lucky enough that we have a separate identity of the ICT department to cover a lot of the digital skills within schools. So they do. My role's more the ed tech development of staff, more so than anything else. So it's a separate role from head of ICT and from ICT coordinator in school as well. So it is.
I know, and I said there at the start of the call that I know you weren't on it. A lot of people's concern when they did the registration form was what's happening with Key Stage 3, but also what's happening with staff training. So I'm thinking, Marion, you're having that issue as well. Possibly not so much you, Siobhan, staff training and good practice around that. Would that interest you as the next topic? Oh, sorry, I cut out there, ladies. So I think maybe if we bring that together as a topic for the next session, training and managing staff, non-specialists, and what training's happening within schools, where to find good training. So if you're happy enough, if everybody's happy for that to be the concentration on the next DigiShare of what we're going to do, we'll maybe consider that. We have mentioned Adobe Express, and obviously that's part of what I'm doing here. There is a calendar for live lessons. And Marion, maybe it's something that you could consider as well, some of those guided activities. You get it, accessing it there, you'll see it at the bottom of the screen, Adobe/Express links. And you can see where all of those live lessons actually are and what's coming up and what's relevant. They're very good in that, you know, coming up to Halloween, there'll be a Halloween one, World Book Day, there'll be one Maths Week, there might be one, just something that's really useful for your non-specialists. Colette, I'm not sure, you said you did quite a bit of Adobe training. Are you an ACE leader?
No, not a leader.
Well, I would be encouraging you to take the opportunity to get that maybe under your belt. You get so much, a bit like this, supportive drop-in meetings, challenges. Well, there's a bit of swag that goes with it. It sounds like you're already leading and developing the creativity in the school. So it just would be another feather in your cap with the Learning Leaders program and things like that. It's very, very accessible as just adobe.ly/leader UK.
Okay.
Bring you more resources, more opportunities to discuss and things we pointed out maybe that wee bit in advance, you know. So that's a big advantage. There is very close to you, Colette, obviously, Marion, a bit of a trek for yourself and Siobhan. There is training coming up for ACE Leader, and it's on the 4th of November. You can see it there from 9:30 to 2:30, sorry, in Cedar Lodge Post 16 Centre in Belfast. The details for sign up haven't not been released yet, which I'm not sure why, but it's definitely coming out. So if you're following Did You Know This, the link tree, or following our socials, and again, I'll send it out to everybody who's registered for the session, details about this. It is, you can see it there, lunch is provided. It's all about collaboration. I'm a big, massive believer in magpieing information. Adobe will be there, EA will be there, their e-learning consultants, etc. So you make connections as well as everything else, but it's a brilliant opportunity for free training. You know yourselves, getting out of school can be a hassle, but if it's leading to something, it's going to be very worthwhile. And the fact you don't have to pay for the training is that wee bit of a bonus. That's another sign up page for signing up for ACE for the live lessons. And if you're interested in the Did You Know This workshops, it's all on the link tree. Share this session with your departments. Marion, if you have a lot of non-specialists, it might interest them. You could maybe share the recording with them. We're going to talk about what we need for our next sessions as well. We didn't really cover staff training to any great extent today, so I personally think that's one that we'll cover as part of the next DigiShare. And if you can convince other people to sign up, Marion, I know you had somebody from St. Joseph's who had, and we'll tailor those sessions as we go along. I will obviously always have a plan of what we're going to discuss, but I would love that we're in a position that it could go very naturally in a direction with conversations. So if you want to pop in the chat or send me an email or even put your mic on now and just let me know what you'd be interested in for the next session, that would be appreciated. Or what dates or what days of the week, or even what times suit better. You know, would closer to finishing up time at 3:30 suit better, so you can do it straight after school. It's up to you guys. Siobhan, what would suit you?
Probably closer to 3:30, but it was just today we had meeting our directed times on a Wednesday, so that was why I was a wee bit late getting in.
Our directed times are Wednesday as well, to be honest with you, so Wednesday's not really ideal for me either. But there was a session on, because I'm part-time, I didn't have to do today's session. But we'll maybe look at Tuesday. Does that conflict with anything for Colette or Marion? What way are you using? Does 3:30 suit a wee bit better than maybe waiting that?
Yeah, Tuesday's fine for me, and yeah, I think it would be better closer to 3:30.
It is that doing it from your store or the cleaners dandering in on you, but you know that we're all teaching, we're all coming from the same point of view. Marion, what about you? Is it Tuesday one of the days that you work?
We finish at 25 to 3. I might have a meeting on a Tuesday, but definitely Tuesday would suit better than a Wednesday, and 3:30 would be ideal.
Picking an actual date, ladies, if you have any preference. Now I was sort of suggesting the 2nd of December. let me check the calendar there and see, just when we are here, if you're interested in coming back, if you're getting anything out of it. Tuesday the 2nd of December, if anybody has anything on or offhand, is that the date that suits?
Yeah, that suits.
It might be easier to convince colleagues to sit in for half an hour too, maybe, if it starts straight away promptly at 3:30. I might even be able to convince a couple of my own to come along and share what they're doing, because it's the sharing aspect of it that more than paperwork or anything like that, I suppose. Anybody any questions or anything they want to share or ask? I'm just going to finish up this recording in a minute or two. But
I know just it maybe was discussed. I might have missed it, Louise. The minute.
oh, you're cutting out on us a wee bit, Siobhan. Say it again for me.
Oh, sorry. I was saying the notebook LM's proving a big hit in our school at the minute.
Same with us, actually. I'll maybe put that down as well. AI in general and Notebook LM, wee hints and tips that people could share that are working really well within their school, because if it's being tried and tested, that's what we want to hear. So on that, I am going to thank you for coming. I'm going to stop the recording. Anybody who wants to stay around for a wee chat or two, you're more than welcome to.